sunshines, all of you. I hope everyone's doing okay. So as you can see from the title of this video, I am going to be doing a video on managing mental health at work. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this because it is quite personal, but I went back to work yesterday and I was off the majority of last year, so I was off work for 10 months because of my mental health. I might do a story time on that in a few months' time, but I'm not exactly ready to talk about that just yet because I'm still quite new to YouTube and I feel like I want people to get to know me as me, if that makes sense. So I don't want you to be like, oh my god, like she's got mental health problems, I feel so sorry for her. Like, I don't want anything like that because so many people suffer with so many different problems, not just mental health, like they have physical illnesses as well or anything. So I just want you guys to know me for me, and if I can help you guys out, then that's a bonus. Like, I would love to help you guys out because obviously I've said this on a few videos before, like I am not a professional by any means. I am just going off what I've been taught by the people around me and just like general life lessons, what you all learn. I was off work for 10 months and yesterday when I went back I was so scared. Like, I had forgotten what it's like to work, and there are so many mental health illnesses and it's really sad because people don't understand that it is so scary sometimes because you're not always in control of what you're going to do, and like every day you wake up you don't know what mood you're going to be in, you don't know what you're going to be like because mental health doesn't take a day out. Like, you could wake up one morning, you could feel okay, and the next morning you could feel like so low and your body will just feel so drained and you feel like you can't actually get up and you can't do anything because you just have no motivation and you can't do it. So I'm going to name a few mental health illnesses at the top of my head. There's probably loads more, but so the illnesses that some people usually have are anxiety and depression. Anxiety is a big issue, like especially if you work in retail, like because you are constantly around people, you have to deal with customers and all this expectation to give customer service, and I really feel like it does put some people on pressure, especially if they have really bad social anxiety. And I know you'll be thinking, well, why are they doing a job which involves talking in front of people and getting involved in customers? But no, like if people want to do that job, then like they could be doing that for different reasons. Like, they can have good days, they can have bad days with customers. So it's like anything, like everyone will have a good day and everyone will have a bad day. Like, it's human. Like we can't change that. Like, it's just how we deal with things. I think that, like, I know that it's very hard to like talk to people sometimes, especially when you have mental health problems. You just want to shut yourself away because you feel like people don't understand, or they won't understand because they can't physically see what's wrong with you because it's a mental illness, so it's hidden. I feel like if you're able to like talk to a manager or another colleague, then hopefully like they can have like a bit of more of an insight into what triggers your illnesses of, and they could try and find ways around that and to try and prevent that from happening as much as possible in your workplace, because they don't know, like they're not psychic. So if you tell them or give them some sort of information about yourself and what sort of things may happen when you get into like a bit of an episode, if you have like a little bit of a meltdown at work, then, and like if they need to call anyone. So if you give them some information about what they can do to help you beforehand, then that will make the situation more easier, if that makes sense. So yesterday I went back to work and my managers were just going through ways of trying to understand my illnesses a bit more, and so if I do end up getting into a bit of a state at work, what will they have to do and how can they help me in that situation? Like, everyone will probably get upset at work. Like, there's probably like every day someone will get upset at work. Like, it's just what we do. Like, it's just, we can't help it. Like, we're all human at the end of the day. We've got like emotions. Like, we can't just easily shut off But some people are a bit more extreme with their emotions and the way they deal with things. So that's why these care plans need to be put in place for when you're at work, because your work have a duty of care and a responsibility. So whilst you're in work and you're in their premises, they have the right, they have a duty of care for you. So I really, really recommend you talk to someone and you give them information about your illnesses beforehand, and just give them general information. And if they know your triggers, then they will try and prevent that from happening, so they will try not to do what triggers you off, if that makes sense. So for example, I hate change, and I said to my manager that one thing that they could try and prevent to do with me is like to try and warn me in advance if like there's a dramatic change. So my department is on checkouts, so if I have to help out in like the cafe or another department, then I'd rather get told like quite a bit beforehand, so I can prepare myself for the situation, because it throws me when something changes and when a plan changes. And she was absolutely understanding about that. She agreed, because she was the same in some situations. Like, I know some people's works, they may even have like a helpline. So if you speak to your like line manager or your personnel manager, whatever you call your team, so I don't know if it's different for where you work, they sometimes have like a helpline which you can call. So we have one, I can't remember what it's called. So they literally deal with counselling, they deal with bereavement, they deal with stress, they deal with depression, they deal with absolutely anything. And my manager gave that to me because they're a helpline which I linked with my work, and you can call them 24/7 and they're open every day of the week. So that's quite good, that's quite helpful. So maybe speak to one of your managers to see if there's any numbers you can call, because you don't know what could happen. Also, if you do get yourself into a little bit of a pickle when you're at work, try and think of ways to overcome that. So if you weren't at work and you were at home and you had like a bit of an episode, what would you do to try and help you get over that? So I suggested that if I get into a bit of a meltdown, or if I get into a bit of a, I don't know, like a bit of a blip or whatever you want to call it, then I suggested to my managers that if I have like a minute out and I go to the toilet to splash water over my face, or if I'm able to speak to a manager at the time, then if I'm able to speak to a manager, depends on how severe the situation was. So I honestly recommend, like, I think the best thing in this situation is talk to someone, because mental health, you can't just put a plaster on it and it'll just go away. It's not like a broken arm where you can just bandage it up and it'll be okay after a few weeks, because it's a mental illness, so it's hidden. So the best way to overcome this at work is by talking to people, because you need to like try and get it out of your head, and I feel like talking is the best way to express yourself and to deal with things at times, because I feel like if you don't talk, you'd end up bottling things up, and like your colleagues and your managers, like, they are not psychics, so they don't know when you're going to be upset, when you're going to be in an episode. I don't know anything, so they can't assume that you're going to be not in a good mood, or like you're going to be in a state. So that's why talking is the best policy. I know some people find it very hard to talk, so I would recommend, maybe if you can't talk to someone, maybe if you write things down like in a list, or if you're able to talk to a family member, then they could talk to your managers like on your behalf, as long as you give them your permission. I know that dealing with like anxiety and depression and any other illness is very difficult, especially when you're in retail, because there is no escape. There's so much pressure. You have so many people watching you, and if there's a customer which you feel is being a bit rude to you, and if you're quite sensitive, maybe you should like call a colleague over and if you feel like the customer's being a bit negative, if that's the word, then make sure you call an advisor over so they can be your witness and they can be there for you and help you on your behalf. So don't feel like you're alone, because there are always going to be people around you to help you. Another thing is, I used to take fidget cubes and little tangles at work. So if like I wasn't serving any customers or I wasn't dealing with any customers and I was a bit stressed, I usually had my fidget cube or my tangle in my pocket. So if I got a bit stressed, then I use that. Also on checkout, if there were these things which used to come to my mind which were bothering me and I knew I wasn't able to get off until like I either finished my shift or I was on a break, then I would always bring like a little notebook, and when I wasn't dealing with customers I would always write down what was on my mind. So then I knew what was on my mind, and if I needed to tell anything to my managers, because I would have already wrote it down on the piece of paper. I'm trying to think of other things, because it's really hard, because it's not like a cut where you just put a plaster on it and then like after a minute it's like fine, because mental health isn't as easy as that, and it's so sad. Like, so if you ever have breaks at work and you feel very anxious, maybe listen to some music or some soothing music, so hopefully that'll calm you down before you go back to your shift. And because I always listen to music when I'm at work, when I'm on my breaks, because I find that music helps me a lot. And music does help people in general. But honestly, like, considering I've had 10 months off work, it was actually quite nice to get back into a routine yesterday and to see everyone again. And I don't know, it was just kind of surreal that I actually ended up back at work yesterday, because I never saw that day coming. Honest to God, I never saw that day coming. Like, at the end of the day, your work will always have to put you first, and your health and your well-being. And that's what they did in my case. And I was very fortunate in that aspect, because my work had been absolutely amazing towards me. Like, they were only looking out for me at the time. And in the long run, looking back now, they did do the right thing for me. So all they want to do is help you and give you the best support as best they can, because they are not professionals at the end of the day, and neither am I. They can't assume what's going on with you unless you actually talk to them, because they're not psychic. So talking is the best policy when it comes to dealing with mental health at work, and then hopefully your managers will find routes around your triggers and your mental illnesses, and hopefully that will prevent anything from happening at work if you get into like a bit of an incident or anything, or if you get a bit upset. But we are not ogres. People are not ogres. Like, honestly, all we want to do is help you guys. And yeah, so I think that's everything I'm going to say for this video, because I don't really have a proper answer for this, if I'm being completely honest, because it's just talking. Talking is the best thing you can do. So yeah. So make sure you look after yourself, guys, and you've got this. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you on my next video. Bye!